Okay guys, welcome to the workshop. Beautiful night there in the jungle. Really nice night actually. It's nice when the weather cools down a little bit at night at least. Makes for a more pleasant evening, that's for sure. This video will probably upset some people. Remember, this is just my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. You don't even need to watch if you don't want to. Just my opinion. Keep your comments on the less nasty side as possible. Now, a few weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago, hello Ludwig, I got contacted twice in the same week about teaching jobs in Thailand. Now over the years I've been asked probably a couple hundred times, easily a couple hundred times, by people that if I could get them a teaching job or a job in general. If you want a job, you got to do like everybody else and go find it. I can't find you a job. I don't have one myself. And I don't want one. And if I was looking for a job, I wouldn't look in Thailand. You don't go to a third world country expecting to find a good job. Not that they're not available, there just ain't many of them. So twice in the same week, I got contacted by two different people about teaching jobs. And the kicker with this one is, these teaching jobs don't require a visa of any kind. Pretty amazing, yeah? Now, I don't know what all teachers get paid, but I've met a few teachers, and I know they don't get much. I've seen a few teaching jobs advertised, and the rate was 28,000 baht a month. This is a few years ago, but that's what it was. It was three teaching jobs, all within an hour of my house. Not that I was looking for a job, they were just sent to me, and the rate was 28,000 baht a month. In order to get a work permit, or at least when I had a work permit, which is almost 15 years ago now, minimum salary was 40,000 a month. So the job doesn't even cover the number one first requirement to get a work visa or a work permit. Didn't cover the money. So how that works, I don't know. Maybe there is a special clause for teachers because teachers don't get paid enough to reach that requirement. But if you're going to be working a full-time job, it'd be nice to get a little bit more than 28,000 a month, I think. It ain't much money. That's not much money at all. I wouldn't want to live off of it, I tell you that. But I know, people are sitting in the frozen motherland thinking a job in a tropical country that pays enough to basically survive sounds like a pretty good idea. I get it, I understand. But you got to look at the big picture. That dream job in tropical land can become a nightmare pretty quick because you're broke. But anyway, this job, and one didn't tell me where the job was. He asked me, did it sound right? I'm like, no, it don't sound right. There's no such thing as a job in any country in the world. You cannot go to any country in the world without some kind of visa. At all. You can be visa exempt, but you got to have something, a stamp in your passport. You can't just cross borders without any kind of paperwork. And that's what this job was offering. So this second one that contacted me, he told me where it was, right? The job place in Royette. And he had more information than the first guy, who was very vague. And he asked me my opinion. Now, you shouldn't ask my opinion on anything unless you actually want it, because I'm dumb enough to actually give it. And don't sugarcoat it. There is no way you can get into this country or any other country and work without a visa. Now, anybody who lives in this country know how hard it is to stay legal. It is very time consuming and even expensive in order to stay legal. And I've been here 15 years. I've been on the same visa for 11. It's been extended 11 times. And I still get treated like a criminal every time I go to the immigration office. So somebody who thinks they can come in here with no visa at all and work, you're in dreamland. And it comes down to if you're gullible enough. I didn't say this to the guy. Hey boys, relax. If you're gullible enough to think you can go to any country in the world, not just one that's got very, very, very difficult visa rules, and work without a visa, or even get in without a visa, do you really think you're qualified to be a teacher? Seriously, do you think, if you're not smart enough to realize that there's something wrong there, then you're probably not qualified to be a teacher? And it comes down to another thing with English teachers in Thailand. How can you teach a Thai person English if you don't speak Thai? I wouldn't want to learn Thai from somebody that I couldn't talk to, or learn any second language from somebody that I can't communicate with. How do you know what they're talking about? You know, you could maybe do the basics, but you're not much of a teacher if you can't communicate in any language with the kids. There is no way half of these teachers that are in Thailand are actually qualified. I do know one that speaks fluent Thai. But, you know, you got to speak some language. You got to be able to say the words that you're teaching. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion. But I don't think most of the teachers here, maybe good, are qualified to teach anything because they don't speak Thai. Simple as that. Now, I met a teacher, well, quite a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago. He's actually dead now. He died. I saw it on the news. He died in his sleep. Just a young guy, too. He was a teacher in... there's a lot of action here tonight. He was a teacher in an international school. He was teaching kids like junior high age, you know, young teenagers. They already spoke English, and he was teaching English, math, science. I think it was actually math and science he was teaching mostly. But he got out of that and went to work offshore as a safety guy. That's how I met him. He was in a training course for offshore survival because he just wasn't making enough money to survive as a teacher. But you know, he was teaching in a school where the kids actually spoke English anyway. At least some. But his Thai was just as bad as mine, which is pretty bad. Yeah, sadly he died. I saw it on the news. Home alone with his son. Busy, busy place tonight. This is normally a very quiet village. You're seeing my light and wondering what I'm doing. Who Dick? How you doing? But you know, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. It's, you know, you gotta be smart enough to know it's not, you know, this is not right. And I'm not against people working in Thailand, especially teachers. Thailand's English proficiency is probably one of the worst in the world. Most people that speak English speak it very, very poorly, and very few people speak English. Everybody knows the same 3 or 4 phrases, and that's it. You know, my name is, good morning teacher, and not much else, let me tell you. And they learn that in preschool. I talked to the little kids, 4 or 5 years old, and I talked to the teenagers, 15, 16 years old, and I talked to the older people, because this hasn't been going on forever. You know, people in their 20s, they all speak the same words, and they all sound exactly the same. Because that's all they learn, and that's all there is. That is English language in a Thai school. Now, about 5 or 6 years ago, we went to visit the wife's uncle, who lives about half an hour from here, and he was a teacher. He had just retired. So we're at his house, and he came over and said, "There's a young lady here who wants to talk to you." I'm like, okay. So this girl comes over, and she was, I don't know, 15, 16 years old. And she said, I learned English, but I never spoke to anybody other than my teacher that spoke English, and I want to talk to somebody to see if my English is actually any good. And she spoke very, very good English, probably the top 10% of what I've experienced in the country. And her teacher was an American woman. Where she went to school at, I don't know if it was around here or not, or if she had just arrived from Bangkok. It was the neighbor or some in the village. But she was a little nervous that she didn't actually learn English, put all this time and money and effort into it, and didn't speak English. But she did. She spoke really good English. So she was quite happy with that. And it was nice to talk to somebody that actually spoke decent English. It is very busy around here tonight. Very unusual. Got my buddy Doot Dick all upset. And, you know, so there is some good teachers. And, you know, maybe there's a lot of good teachers. But they don't get paid much. That's for sure. And I don't think it's a dream job. But you definitely need a visa. How people can be that gullible to think that they're special enough to not have to follow the rules that the rest of us gotta worry about all year long. Don't make no sense, you know. Common sense don't exist in some people. Alright guys, like I said, that's just my opinion. If you're gullible enough to think that you don't have to follow the rules, you're special enough not to need a visa, you probably shouldn't be teaching anybody anything. Alright guys, as always, thanks for watching. You don't have to agree with me. It's just my opinion.